But I wanted to ask you first about the transition that you've made over the last 30 years, because you started in stand-up comedy and you've been involved with one of the greatest sitcoms of all time. And you seem to have made increasingly, over the past couple of years, films which are based in real life. And now you're at a Docs Festival.
Right.
So I wondered if you could talk about that transition and why you did it.
Well, they just won't pay me anymore to do the other stuff, so I kind of moved into this. No, I think that over the years, I think doing Seinfeld really was a kind of there was an epiphany that I had doing Seinfeld. Because as great as it was, and as much fun as it was, and as funny as it was, the construction, the artifice of the sitcom started to wear on me after a while. It just felt so fake and false. The sets, the camera work, even the acting sometimes, it just felt too contrived at a certain point. And I got very tired of that, actually, and I felt like it was kind of preventing the audience from connecting to the material in some ways. And Seinfeld was great, but I was interested in sort of stripping away some of the artifice. And I started seeking out things that would allow me to sort of strip away the artifice and find some kind of, you know, hopefully, potentially, some kind of deeper truth in there, you know. And unfortunately, I met Michael Moore along the way. He was a very inspiring person to me, you know. And then Larry decided to do Curb Your Enthusiasm, which was this improvisational show in which he played himself, and that kind of stripped away more of the artifice and broke down the form of the sitcom even more. And then eventually I wound up meeting Sasha, and he had completely exploded all these ideas for me, and really opened my eyes to a whole new world that hadn't been explored yet.
And Curb Your Enthusiasm has quite a distinctive documentary style.
Yes.
Is that quite important to its success, do you think?
I think at the beginning particularly it was. I mean, there's always questions when you do documentary style comedy, like mockumentaries like Christopher Guest, or even Borat to some degree, and Curb Your Enthusiasm. It's a big question that I'm always asking is, who's shooting this? You know, what's the point of view? Is it a filmmaker? Is it a documentary crew? On Borat, we had a lot of conversations about, is this the Kazaki, you know, documentary crew shooting this, and therefore it has to be kind of bad, you know? And a lot of people complained about the cinematography, but that was really done on purpose, you know? And so it's like, that question became kind of a question: where is the camera? Who is the camera? What is the camera? What's the camera's role in here? In a sort of a Brechtian way, are we saying there's a camera here and we're acknowledging that form, or are we trying to pretend that the camera's not there? And so both with Curb and with Borat, that's a continuing dialogue that we have all the time.
Did you ever consider putting Larry David into real scenes in the same way that you do?
I absolutely have, yes, but he's not that into it, so we haven't done it yet.
What's the reservation about it?
Well, I think for Larry, first of all, the difference between Curb and Borat, on the surface there's maybe some similarities, but Curb is a very controlled environment. It's a show, and there's actors, and there's scenes. And even though the scenes aren't written, we kind of have a structure for those scenes. We kind of know where we want to go in those scenes. And so he's interacting with actors, and he likes to have that sense of control over it so that the schedule works for us. I mean, he has a very leisurely schedule that we use to shoot the show. And if he wants to shoot something else and HBO goes, we're not paying for that, he just says, all right, I'll pay for it myself. So, you know, nothing really will stop us from doing the show in that sort of form. With Borat, we're in constant danger, really. We're in constant threat. There's a lot of anger, there's a lot of violence, there's a lot of police. There were probably at least, I would say, over 50 police incidents on Borat, and you know, pretty amazing stuff, and threats and guns and all this kind of stuff, and arrests and things like that. So it's a little bit different experience. It's much more. It is the documentary experience in a sense, but with a fictional element that then has to attempt to manipulate the reality to fit the fictional storyline. So so you have this documentary element, and then you have this fictional element, and then you try to synthesize that into some kind of narrative, which is the challenge.